Hello, everyone who's joining us today, and hello to everybody who ends up watching the recording of this. This is being recorded, just so you guys all know, so that we can share it with those that weren't able to make it tonight. If you don't already know me, I'm Sarah. I'm the director at UNLA. Have been for, I think it's 8 years, something like that for a while. I know many of you, I certainly recognize everybody's name if I haven't met you in person. Max here is our community liaison, a longtime UNLA camper and counselor. He's helping me administer this meeting tonight. The plan for this meeting is I'm going to just briefly tell you all about what we're hoping to do in summer 2021, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. You can either put questions into the chat and I'll answer them that way. I think also fine just to raise a hand and we'll ask you to unmute and you can ask your question verbally. I would ask you that while others are talking, while I'm talking, to keep yourself muted so we don't get background noise, etc. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So to start out with, we were super sad that we didn't get any programs in 2020. I'm sure most of you feel the same way, but we're feeling really optimistic about summer 2021 and that we will be able to run summer camp programs and that it'll be safe to do so and that we'll be allowed to do so by the state as well. We're feeling very optimistic about that. Having said that, we do also believe that summer 2021 is going to look significantly different than a normal UNLA summer would be, that COVID-19 is still absolutely going to be a thing that we need to be thinking about an awful lot, and we need to be doing a lot of things to keep our campers safe. So the first thing that we're planning for summer 2021 in order to make sure that we can run a safe, fun program is that all of our programs are going to be cohorted, or potted is another word that probably a lot of you have heard out there for how we're going to run our programs. So basically what that means is everybody who's kind of come up to camp is going to be with their group. That's going to be about 8 campers, 2 or 3 staff, and that's pretty much the only people that they're going to interact with throughout the session. If you're on trail, you'll be on trail with that group. If you're in a base camp program, then you're going to move throughout the base camp, different things with your pod. So we're going to be offering 4 different main program choices for summer 2021. They're all going to be potted, like I said. The first one is we're going to offer a base camp program. This is going to have, there's going to be less of our base camp pods than there normally would be. As such, we're going to reserve the base camp program for campers that are 10, 11, and 12, or campers who've never been to camp and don't have backpacking experience. We'll let them in, but mostly the base camp program is going to be for younger campers that are maybe not quite ready for an extended backcountry experience. In base camp, the cohorts will do most of the activities that campers would normally do at base camp, like archery, swimming, crash shack, etc. Except they will be moving through those activities in their cohorts, not individually as it normally would be. We are still figuring out how we can do some all camp activities, but any of those all camp activities are going to be physically distant, so the cohorts still aren't mixing with each other. And also we're just going to have less of those things, where it's going to be for all of you who've been there before, which is all of you, special day. It's not going to look very much like special day. We're not going to be able to have those big group meals that we normally have. As well, normally at base camp, campers go on the first hike in their little living groups, but in summer 2021, those that are in the base camp program will go on both of their hikes in their little in their living groups. The second program option that we're going to have for summer 2021 is our hiking and wild programs. And these, which we normally have, these programs will operate as they usually do, except that they're going to spend a little less time in the basin than they normally do. They're only going to spend 1 night in the basin at the beginning and 1 night in the basin at the end, preparing and then getting a shower when they come back. I would say that the wild and hiking programs can be really great for campers of all ability levels. They are, although you're out in the backcountry for a lot of days, they don't necessarily mean that you're doing that much hiking. Some of them, those programs can certainly be pretty mellow as far as the actual intensity of them. And because they are in base camp for a day at the beginning, it gives the counselors a chance to make sure that the campers really have all the right stuff and are really ready to go out. So a program that actually can be really great for any level of backpacker. Certainly anybody that had attended a UNLA session before could absolutely be in one of these programs. Our third option that we're going to have in summer 2021 is Summit to Summit, which is a program that we normally have. It's actually one of our most popular programs. And it's going to run pretty much exactly like it always does. Summit to Summit is a program where right from Scott Mountain Summit, you go onto the trail and you stay out on the trail for 15 days, you get a food drop, and then you come back to Scott Mountain Summit to get picked up at the end. And it's gonna run pretty much like it always does. This program is best for campers who have backpacking experience or are in really good physical fitness. It does tend to cover more ground than a lot of the other trail programs. And also just because you get on the trail right away, it's pretty important that you've at least done some backpacking before being in a Summit program, so that you at least know what it's like to have a backpack on. And then our fourth option for summer 2021, which is our new option, if you want to do something that probably will never be offered again, get on it this year, because this is the 2021 special, is what I'm calling Summit to Summit Extra. And so it's going to be a lot like Summit to Summit. Campers are still going to get dropped off at Scott Mountain Summit and go straight onto the trail from there. But the extra part of it is that they are going to get to come into the basin for one night only. They're going to have the entire basin to themselves, because they'll be there when the base camp cohorts are out on either their tribe hike or their choice hike. And so each of those Summit extras will actually get one night and day only to just be in the basin, have a shower, have a little bit more exciting meal, get to do a few base camp activities while they're there. So it's going to be quite a bit like Summit to Summit in that you're going to be on the trail almost all of the time, but you will get to have one special night in the basin. And this program is really, really great for anybody who's been to UNLA before. We are going to make different Summit to Summit extras for different hiking ability levels. There'll be ones that go further for those that have more backpacking experience, that have been to UNLA more times. There'll also be ones that don't actually go that far, that are fine for campers who have come to camp once before, know about backpacking, but maybe never done a very long hike and don't even want to do a very long hike, but still want to be in the wilderness and still want to have a little bit of that UNLA basin magic. We'll have shorter Summit to Summit extra trips that allow campers to still be on the trail, but also get some of what we think of as normal camp. So those are the 4 types of programs that we're going to be running for this summer. I suppose there is a 5th type. We will run a CIT program during our first session as well. That CIT program will be much like a hiking or wild program. They will get to spend a night in the basin preparing and learning some of the things about preparing for a hike as a staff member in our basin, and then they'll be spending the rest of the session out on the trail, and that will be during our first session. Some other important information that I just want to share with y'all is that when it comes to enrollment, I don't know if any of the people on the call right now extended or deferred their registrations from last year to 2021. If you're one of those people, we're going to be doing a special enrollment period for all of you, which is going to start on January 1st and go through January 21st. So we're going to have priority enrollment for everybody that has extended their registrations. If for some reason you can't enroll during that period of time, that's totally fine. You can still enroll after that. We're just giving people that deferred the first chance at enrolling during those 3 weeks. So availability may start to get sparser after that. And so then for those of you that are out there that didn't defer or are going to encourage people that are new to UNLA to enroll, our open enrollment for summer 2021 will start on January 22nd is when that will be. as well, just to speak a little bit more about COVID-19 and all of the precautions that we're planning to take in order to make sure that we're running a safe camp. As I've explained, we're doing cohorts, small groups, which is one of the strategies that has been shown to be really effective. We're also putting together a whole procedure about all of the different strategies that we're going to employ, things like increased sanitation and disinfection, use of masks when appropriate, social distancing, screening, testing, etc. Those procedures are currently being reviewed by our medical task force and our board, and we're hoping to release the draft that we're working on to the public in January so that everybody can see what we're thinking. We also, though, understand that this pandemic is ever changing. There's new science that comes out every day, and we are following closely. We're following what the ACA is saying. We're following what the American Camp Nurse Association is saying, and we want to make sure that we are doing our best to be up with the most current standards and the most current advice that's out there. So we're actually going to continue updating our COVID-19 procedures all the way till probably May. And in May, then anybody who's enrolled is going to be sent a final draft, and we're going to be asking everybody to thoroughly read those and sign an acknowledgement that they've read them and the risk of COVID, and that they agree to abide by them, because we definitely take, as always, we take the health and safety of our campers to be the number one most important thing. And so we're going to be asking a lot of cooperation and communication from our campers and our parents this year to really make sure that we're all on board to keep us all safe in this summer that's coming up. So that's my little spiel. Now I'm going to open it up to questions. I see that one just got added to the chat. I'm going to check it out. It is, what is the length of the Summit to the Limit Extra program? Days of camp and approximate dates. Okay, great question. So this summer, we're going to have 3 sessions. The first session, I can pull up the actual dates here. I will, why not? Our first session is going to be a 15-day session. And depending on which program you enroll in order to have staggered starts and end times, which is something that's recommended by the ACA, is that you have staggered starts and end times. We are starting different programs on different days, but our first session will be running from Saturday, June 26th to Saturday, July 10th, or Sunday, June 27th to Sunday, June 11th. That's a 15-day program. Our second session, which is also a 15-day program, will be running from July 17th to Saturday, July 31st, or July 18th to Sunday, August 1st. And our third session is actually going to be 10 days only. And it will run from Thursday, August 5th to Saturday, August 14th, or from Friday, August 6th to Sunday, August 15th. Again, depending on which program you enroll in. The Summit to Summit Extra programs will be offered all 3 of those sessions. So during first session, it'll be 15 days. During second session, it will be 15 days. And during third session, it will be 10 days. And I will put the link to our rates and dates page in the chat right now so that you can go and check out the exact dates for each of those programs and sessions. And then I will look at the next question, and it says, I assume no bus this year. Yes, thank you, Caitlin. That is a really, really important question. So providing transportation to our campers to get to camp is something, for those that need it to get to camp, is something that's really, really important to us, because we know that access to programs like us, transportation to it is a huge obstacle. However, we do not feel that providing bus transportation is going to be safe this summer. So yes, you're correct, Caitlin. We are not going to provide bus transportation this summer. We're going to ask any family that can drop their kid off to please drop their kid off. If it is not possible for you to drop your kid off, as in they can't come to camp, if there's no kind of transportation with them, then we're going to work individually with families to create cohorts that we can provide potted transportation to. But we're hoping that the vast number of families can in fact drop their kids off at the summit, as it is the safest possible option for getting your kids to camp this summer. Our next question I see here is, how does staff training work? What is the process of becoming a counselor this year? So we will have, the process for becoming a counselor this year is going to look very similar to what it does every year. We have a page on our website to apply to be a staff member, which I can share right here in a minute. And it is not up yet, but sometime in January, there will be a link to a staff application on that page. And after turning your application, then you'll get to do an interview and there'll be references, and then the process continues from there. So the process for becoming a staff member is going to be very similar to how it would be in any other year. And how does staff training work? If you're hired, we'll get more into exactly how staff training works, but staff training this year is going to look a little different than it has in other years. We're going to have more training that we do online virtually beforehand, where we don't have to be interacting with each other. But then as well, we're going to have absolutely an in-person staff training that we're going to treat as a quarantine period as well. So our staff will have quarantined for 15 days essentially during their staff training before we have any campers.
So I believe I can't really speak to staff training, so I'll let Sarah bring that up again if she wants to keep talking about it. But I can talk about the question, would you consider Wild Tribe or Summit to Summit Extra to involve more hiking, distance, and miles per day? So wild programs are actually not necessarily super intensive hiking programs. They sometimes go short distances, but they do spend, as Sarah said, it would be 13 days on the trail this year, with one night in the basin on each end. Hiking Tribe is usually a little bit more intensive in terms of miles, but still not the most. Hi, Sarah, are you back?
Yes, I think I'm back.
Okay, I was just talking about the difference between the mileage, that next question. I was going to let you pick up staff training again, because I don't think I can speak to that. But I'll just finish what I was saying. Summit to Summit Extra and Summit to Summit are going to be the programs with the most mileage and distance and the most challenging in terms of hiking. There's still going to be differentiated levels within that. So some programs that don't go as far, maybe have some layover days, and some that are much more advanced for our campers who've been coming for many years. But those programs will definitely require some previous backpacking experience, or camping backpacking experience. Our wild program, for example, might be an option for a camper who doesn't have much backpacking experience, but is in good physical shape. I hope that answers that question. Sarah, are you still there?
I am. I thought I'd turn off my video to see if my connection is any better with my video off, as it sometimes is. Can you hear me pretty well?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Great.
Do you want to talk about staff training?
Yeah, I'll take over, and I'll just follow up with what Max said was spot on. And that certainly for wild, you could consider being part of a wild if you didn't have backpacking experience. And that some of the Summit to Summit extras will be less mileage than other ones. There'll be a variety in the Summit to Summit extra program.
Does attending base camp in a prior year count as previous backpacking experience? I would say absolutely yes, it does. Anyone who's gone to camp has gone on 2 multi-night backpacking trips, or 1 if they did 10-day, but that's still some backpacking experience. If that's the only backpacking you've done is 1 year at camp, you would probably be a beginner backpacker. You might not be ready for our most advanced programs, but you would definitely count as having some backpacking experience.
Is it possible that a vaccine will lead to more flexibility on this summer? Rebus, how much time in base camp, etc. The answer, I think, is yes, maybe. We certainly are open to having more flexibility with our summer, depending on the state of the pandemic. Having certainly more time, more availability in base camp is definitely something we're open to. and even perhaps a bus, depending on really how good it got. We're not particularly optimistic that the vaccine will be widely enough available for especially youth this summer to feel very confident that the vaccine would lead us to more flexibility. However, we do absolutely feel that if the just general state of the pandemic has improved a lot, if there's much lower case counts, or if we see in the spring schools opening up and functioning and kids are not getting sick, etc., that we would add more flexibility to our programs. Absolutely, we're definitely open to adding more flexibility if things really improve, and we will definitely keep everybody updated on those improvements. I see another question of, is there any possibility of CIT training session 2 for those who missed out on it last year but may not be available session 1? Unfortunately, as we always do, we are only going to be leading CIT training during our first session this year. It's difficult to staff it for multiple sessions. So we're only going to be leading the CIT training during session 1 as we normally do. If you are somebody who's been to camp once and you're curious about what you think might be good for your camper, please reach out to me, email me, tell me your camper's name. Also, if they remember where they went on their hikes, that's super helpful. And we can help guide them towards a trail program that's really appropriate for them and their backpacking experience. Mary, thank you for that question. Right now, we are planning to ask campers to have a negative COVID test before attending. Yes, it is possible that the state of testing goes really awry by then and we don't find it reasonable to ask for that, but we believe that that testing will be pretty widely available in the summer. And so we are going to ask people to have a negative COVID test before attending. As well, if available, we may try and invest in rapid testing that we can actually administer upon arrival if it's available. Great, I see one more about financial assistance. So if you are applying for a financial assistance, your financial assistance from last year will be carried over. You don't have to reapply. However, I will say that if your need has changed from last year, you're welcome to reapply as well. And we will certainly consider your new application as well, because we know that many people's financial situations have changed this year. And we want to make sure that we are taking into account people's new situations. But if you're good with your campership that you got last year and you deferred, it will carry over and you do not need to apply again. I also got a question: a large number of families roll over to this year. Yeah, close, over a third, between a third and a half, which I would say is a pretty large number. Great. Well, if no one else has any questions, I think we'll leave it. Feel free, again, to email Max or I with questions. We also plan to do another couple Q&As throughout the summer, especially as we learn more, as the state of the pandemic changes and as we finalize our COVID-19 procedures for the summer, so that we can keep people updated. Because as I said at the beginning, we're going to really need the cooperation, and we're going to need all our families to be part of this to keep our kids safe this summer. So we plan to be talking a lot. But anyway, thank you to everybody who came tonight. Cannot wait to see your campers in the mountain this summer. It's going to be different is what it's going to be, but I think it's still going to be a really great summer. People are still going to make really great friends. They're still going to see amazing lakes, and we're still going to make amazing connections. Thank y'all for being with us, and look forward to talking to you more in the coming months and seeing your campers up at camp come July or August. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.